Well, good morning, everybody. It is Dr. Darren Grillo here, aka Canada's Dr. Barbecue. Quick little recipe video again that I wanted to share with you. One that is super easy to make, takes very little time. You can easily do this as a quick weekday meal, or certainly on the weekend if you wish as well. If you have some leftover chicken, you can use it for this recipe, which is barbecue chicken flatbread. Absolutely fantastic, so simple. You can use store-bought pizza dough. You can use a pita, a naan bread. You don't even have to make it. I happen to have made recently some 2-day fermented pizza dough. I'm just going to be using that. But again, you can use other things that are so simple, so easy, and just speed up the whole process. So what I've done is I've gone ahead first off and just taken a chicken breast, and I right now have it smoking on my smoker. I want to get a little bit of smoke flavor on there, and that's what I'm going to be using. If you happen to have some leftover chicken, this is a great option as well, and something that you can do to use up that leftover chicken in a great, delicious, simple way. Anyway, as this finishes up, we'll go on with the rest of the recipe here, and I'll see you back in just a minute. All right, guys, here are the ingredients for my flatbread that I'm going to be making here, barbecue chicken flatbread for dinner tonight. We have the chicken that I smoked off earlier today, allowed it to cool, chopped it up, cubed it. You could shred it, works great that way. If there's extra, it'll get used in like a chicken Caesar salad or something else, but there's plenty there and it'll go great. Got some white onion. I'd like to use red onion on this type of a recipe. White onion will work very nice too. It's a sweet onion, so it'll be great. I fried off some bacon and crumbled it up. We have some homemade pickled jalapenos, my wife's recipe, which is fantastic. The jalapenos aren't super hot, but they'll just add a tiny little tang, and then that vinegary pickle will also help to enhance the flavor here. We've got some shredded cheese here, combination of some pizza mozzarella, little cheddar, and actually some leftover authentic Quebec cheese curd that I've been using for poutine, but I thought it would go great on this recipe. It'll just melt really well and add that gooiness that you want in a pizza or flatbread. A dough ball there, which is one of the batches from my recently 2-day fermented pizza dough recipe, and it'll work great for a flatbread. And then your favorite barbecue sauce. I'm going to be using a kind of a traditional Kansas City ketchup molasses style barbecue sauce here for this recipe today. Should go great. All right, guys, I want to share a great tip with you here as far as making either pizza or flatbread that has really served me well. I used to have a lot of trouble when I would try to make it, keeping it in the right shape, and then getting the pizza or the flatbread, to, as they say, to launch onto my cooking stone or griddle or whatever it is that you're going to be cooking on, because it would stick so much. It would really make a mess. It would make it really, really tough, and it's quite frustrating. So instead what you do, and I learned this tip off of the internet, works great, make it on a piece of parchment paper. That way, once it's actually prepared, you can start the cook on your stone, on your pizza steel, whatever it is you're using, with the parchment paper still in place. You just put the whole thing in. Let it bake for a couple minutes to set that crust. Then you can remove the pizza or flatbread, remove the parchment paper, and let it finish the cook right on the stone. And it's going to turn out fantastic every time and make moving around and your whole life with it, making this so much easier. So let's go ahead and start to get this worked out. I've got these bowls holding my parchment paper down just because right now, unfortunately, it's rather windy. Yeah, watching me press this out into a shape is probably like watching paint dry. We're almost there, I promise. All right, that's a pretty good shape, pretty good size. I like that. That'll cook up nice. Okay, so now you can order your ingredients however you wish. The way that I'm going to do this is start with a little bit of the barbecue sauce. And what I want to do is just get a light coating all over the bottom there. Not too heavy on it, because what I'm going to do at the end is come back with a drizzle over the top anyways. There we go. So next, I'm actually going to go with a bit of the cheese on the bottom. I like a lot of cheese actually. There we go, that's looking good. Let's go ahead with our chicken next. Spread that around. It's already been smoked and cooked. That looks fantastic. What next? Bacon. Let's do a little bacon next. It's going to be a nice, meaty flatbread. Lots of flavor. Beautiful. Let's do some onions. And again, because it's a pizza flatbread type scenario here, you can put whatever you want on it. One of the great things about pizza and why it's one of the best foods that you can possibly make, it's very subjective. Make it your way. What do you like? Some diced jalapenos now, a little color, a little zing. Not too crazy. Beautiful. I think I'd like to do just a little more cheese on top. Not much, won't go too heavy. Quite a bit of cheese in there. Love it. And lastly, let's do one more drizzle. And we can be a little creative, maybe artistic here. I'll go in a bullseye pattern for the barbecue sauce on the top. Perfect. Now, to make life easy, I just happen to have a pizza paddle here. So remember I was saying it's easy to move the pizza around when it's made on the parchment paper? There's a great example of what I mean by that. What I would like to do first though, before I put it on my smoker, which has been preheating with my pizza stone over a live fire, getting really hot, heat soaked, is I'm going to trim that parchment paper a bit. Because if I don't, paper of course has a tendency to burn. We don't want that. So I'll just kind of trim around the outside of my flatbread here. It's slightly bigger than the flatbread itself. And now I'll be able to take this over and launch it onto my pizza stone. Come on along. All right, let's take a little look here. I'll show you my setup. So I've got my pizza stone over an exposed fire to really get that heat soaked into the stone itself. That's what you want to make a really good crust on your pizza. Now, as far as launching this, again, like I said, with the parchment paper, how easy is that? I'm going to let that go for about 5 minutes, which should be enough time for the crust to firm up. And that way it'll allow me to then remove that parchment paper and finish the cook directly on the stone, and it'll turn out fantastic. Just wait and see. Okay guys, it's been a couple minutes now. Let's have a little look, see if she's ready to get that parchment paper out of there. I'd say yes. I think that's good enough now. If I can get that and just carefully slide it off if it'll cooperate. A little cheesy there. Usually the parchment paper will all come off in one piece, and of course today it's being a little bit stubborn. We'll be able to get it though. There it is. Get it all there? Let me make sure. Got a little bit left right there, and it just comes right off. Perfect. And there. So now the pizza there can just continue to cook on its own to really crisp up the bottom. It'll finish. It won't take long at all. Okay, it has now been cooking again without the parchment paper for a couple of minutes. Let's go ahead and like every pizza video that's ever been made, you've got to check underneath to see how the crust turned out. Let's see how that is under there. All right, I don't know how well I'm going to be able to show this because of the angle of the camera, but that is fantastic. It's looking nice and leopard, definitely cooked through. We're going to be able to get that off of there now. I have a pizza pan right here I could just take it off to. And we'll finish things up over to the side here.